So I wanted to make a video to go over some of the conversion, especially the multi-step, in case some of you had questions. I'm going to start off with just a one-step conversion. So this is from the mixed up recipe worksheet, and we are going from ounces to tablespoons. And we were given the conversion. This would be on the back of the worksheet where you were given the conversions. And so we can see a conversion between tablespoons and ounces, so we know this will just be a one step. So when I set this up, I can start with the conversion I was given. So I have 0.5 ounces over 1 tablespoon. And again, that is what I was given. Now, looking at my problem, I can see I have ounces. So I'm going to put that up on the top because I've already put ounces here. And then I have my unknown right here. At this point, I am just cross multiplying, so 0.5 times x gives me 0.5x equals 1 times 1.25. And now I will solve this one-step equation. I will draw my line because I see multiplication happening here and I'm undoing it or doing the inverse. The inverse is division. So divide by 0.5 on both sides, of course, because whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. I'm left here with x, and when I divide, I find I get 2.5 tablespoons. All right, that again is just a one step, and this is how we have been solving with the equivalent ratio. An equivalent ratio, remember, is just two ratios, and we can see that they are equivalent or equal to one another. Now, I do want to show you one other way that you could have set this up. And this is an introduction to that dimensional analysis that we talked about. So, instead of setting up equivalent ratios, what I'm going to do, let me change colors here. Okay? I'm still going to use these numbers that I have here in this conversion. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with what I was given. What I was given was 1.25 ounces. And what is it that I want to go to? Well, I want to go to tablespoons. So I want to go to tablespoons, right? I'm going from ounces to tablespoons. All right. Now, when you set it up this way, this is called the factor label method. And we can do this as a one-step or multi-step, which I'll show you next. You take whatever you were given, 1.25 ounces, and put it over 1. Remember, you can always take a number and put it over 1 and it does not change its value. All right. Notice a big difference here. We have been setting up all our problems as equivalent ratios with an equal sign. I am setting this up as a multiplication problem. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put ounces down here. You might say, but wait a second, you've been saying if we had ounces on top, we had to continue. And you're right, that was when they were equivalent with the equal sign there. Here we're doing a multiplication problem. So right here is when I am taking the conversion piece that I've been given, which is right down here. So 0.5 ounces is 1 tablespoon. All right. What you will see is if you were to multiply straight across, because this is just a fraction times a fraction, and if I multiply my numerators, 1.25 times 1, well, what do you have? You have 1.25. On the bottom, 1 times 0.5 is 0.5, and you're actually just dividing the 1.25 by 0.5. When you do that, of course, 1.25 divided by 0.5 was 2.5. Now let's talk about these labels here. Notice I had ounces and tablespoons. I just had a 1 here, no label, and ounces. These cancel each other out. What is the only label you are left with here? Tablespoons. So again, we started with what we had. We looked at what we were going to, tablespoons, and we multiplied. Again, multiplied rather than having an equivalent fraction. Let me show you with a longer problem. All right, so it looks like the same problem, but I changed this actually to milliliters. So we are going from ounces to milliliters. And if you look right here at this conversion chart, I do see ounces, but that's going to tablespoons. And I don't see any, and I see milliliters, but that was cups. So I'm missing some step in there. So what I really have to figure out is a pathway to go from ounces to milliliters. So this is where it takes a little trial and error. So I'm looking at my chart down here and I'm thinking, well, okay, I started with ounces. Do I see ounces down here? And I do. And I can go from ounces to tablespoons. Okay, well, can I go from tablespoons straight to milliliters? And I look, and I can't. All right, can I go from tablespoons to something else? It looks like, excuse me, I could go from tablespoons to cups. Well, is that getting me any closer? And then I see it, I've got cups to milliliters. So this is gonna be a multi-step issue. Again, what I'm starting off with is ounces. And first I'm gonna go from ounces to tablespoons. From tablespoons to cups. And finally, I can go from cups to milliliters. So it is a long step process. Now, because it's taking so many steps, I want to use that dimensional analysis, setting up as the factor label. So let's look at how we're going to do that. I'm going to write this long arrow sequence a little bit smaller here. So I'm going from ounces to tablespoons, tablespoons to cups, and cups to milliliters. Okay, that's more of a note just for myself to follow along. All right, so we're starting with ounces. What was I given? All right, 1.25 ounces. And again, we just place that first one over 1. Okay, remember, this is going to be multiplication. Now, we said we were going from ounces to tablespoons. So what do we see here? Right here is where I see it, okay? I can go ounces, which is 0.5, and that is 1 tablespoon. But we said going from ounces to tablespoon doesn't get me to my final answer. I need to go from tablespoons to what? Cups. All right, oops, sorry. It's supposed to be multiplication. Okay, so we're looking for tablespoons to cups. What do you see here? All right, that's right above it, right there. And I have 16 tablespoons is 1 cup. All right, still not quite there, but we're getting closer. All right, do we see anything about cups and milliliters? And I do, finally, down here. I have 1 cup is equal to 236.6 milliliters. And I'm just gonna double check. I have ounces up top, which will cancel my ounces down here. Tablespoons here, which will cancel my tablespoons here. Cups here, which cancel my cups here. And that leaves me with what? The milliliters, which is what I needed. All right, so let's go ahead and multiply straight across. All right, remember, you can use calculators. So we have 1.25 times 1, which I don't need to do, times another 1, times 236.6. And I got 295.75. Now I'm going to try that one more time just to make sure. 1.25 times 236.6. And I got 295.75. Now I'm looking at the bottom. On the bottom, I have 0.5 times 16. And I got 8. All right, so now I'm just dividing my 0.75 divided by my 8. 295.75 divided by 8. And I got 36 point, oh, it's kind of a long one, 96, it keeps going, so we'll round it off with a 9, okay, milliliters. Now let's make sure we really did end up with milliliters. Let's find out. Ounces, canceled out ounces. Tablespoons, canceled out tablespoons. Cups, canceled out cups. And I was left with what I needed, which was my milliliters. So this is how to solve a multi-step problem using dimensional analysis, also known as factor unit. Start with what you're given, place it over 1, and then gradually, it's like solving a puzzle, work your way down to what unit you need. I hope this helped.